Life is full of challenges, frustrations, and unexpected events, and often our first instinct is to react immediately. Whether it's anger, defensiveness, fear, or even overexcitement, the way we react can shape our relationships, our decisions, and even our inner peace. But the truth is, the human brain can be trained. Just like muscles grow stronger when exercised, the mind becomes more disciplined when we practice awareness and control. Learning how to train your brain to stop reacting is not about suppressing your emotions, but about mastering them so they serve you instead of controlling you. Awareness is the foundation of all transformation. If you want to train your brain to stop reacting, you must first begin by noticing what is happening inside of you in the very moment you feel triggered. Most people move through life on autopilot, allowing emotions to dictate their words and actions without even realizing it. They snap in anger, shut down in fear, or defend themselves in insecurity, all because they are unaware of the emotional storm rising within them. But the moment you bring awareness to your inner state, you reclaim your power. You stop being a prisoner to your reactions and instead become an observer who has a choice. Think about it. When something upsetting happens, your body often reacts before your mind catches up. Your chest might tighten, your jaw may clench, your heartbeat speeds up, and your thoughts race. These are not random. They are signals. They are your body's way of telling you that you're entering a reactive state. But unless you've trained yourself to notice these signals, you'll automatically get swept away by them. That's why awareness is the first step, because you can't change what you don't see. Developing awareness requires slowing down. In a world that glorifies constant movement, speed, and instant responses, slowing down might feel unnatural at first. But slowing down does not mean weakness, it means strength. It means creating just enough space to witness what is happening within you. For example, the next time you feel insulted or criticized, instead of immediately lashing back, pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where is this emotion showing up in my body? Why is this trigger so strong for me? These questions shift you from being a reactor to being a reflector. Awareness also helps you uncover patterns. Maybe you notice that you always get defensive when someone challenges your opinion, or you feel anxious when you sense rejection. When you become aware of these repeated patterns, you start to see the deeper beliefs driving them. Perhaps it's the fear of not being good enough or the memory of past wounds. This kind of insight is invaluable because it shows you that your current reactions aren't random. They're rooted in old programming. And the beauty is, once you see the programming, you can change it. One practical way to build awareness is through mindfulness practices. Mindfulness simply means being fully present with your thoughts, feelings, and sensations without judgment. Even just 5 minutes of sitting quietly each day, focusing on your breath and observing your thoughts, trains your mind to notice what's happening inside. Over time, this daily practice strengthens your ability to catch your emotions in real time before they take over. Another method is journaling. When you write down the moments that triggered you during the day, along with how your body felt and how you reacted, you begin to spot patterns that were invisible before. Writing slows down your thoughts and turns the chaos in your head into something you can look at and analyze. This, too, deepens awareness. Awareness is not about suppressing your emotions or pretending you don't feel what you feel. It is about owning your experience. When you are aware, you are no longer controlled by impulses. You can acknowledge anger without exploding, feel sadness without shutting down, and notice fear without letting it paralyze you. Awareness gives you choice, and choice is freedom. So, if you truly want to train your brain to stop reacting, commit to cultivating awareness. Notice the signals in your body. Observe the thoughts running through your mind, and pay attention to the patterns in your reactions. At first, this may feel challenging, but over time it becomes second nature. And as your awareness grows, your reactions will naturally lose their grip on you. You will no longer be a slave to every emotion. You will be the master of your inner world. That is where true transformation begins. One of the most powerful tools for training your brain to stop reacting is learning how to pause. At first glance, pausing might sound too simple to be effective. But in reality, the pause is where your greatest strength lies. It is the sacred space between the trigger and your response, the moment that determines whether you act out of impulse or out of wisdom. When you master the art of pausing, you regain control over your emotions, your words, and ultimately, the direction of your life. Think about the last time you reacted instantly to something. Maybe someone insulted you, and before you could even process what they said, anger had already taken control. Or perhaps you received criticism, and your immediate response was to defend yourself. In those moments, there was no pause, there was only reaction. And what often follows is regret for what you said, regret for how you behaved, regret for allowing the situation to control you. But when you learn to pause, even for just a few seconds, you give yourself the chance to break free from that cycle. The pause is not about suppressing emotions, it's about creating space for clarity. When something triggers you, your brain immediately sends signals to your body, your heartbeat rises, your muscles tighten, adrenaline floods your system. This is your survival instinct kicking in, preparing you to fight or flee. But most of the challenges we face today are not life or death situations, they are emotional triggers. The pause gives your nervous system a chance to calm down so that your logical brain can catch up with your emotional brain. In that space, you can choose how you want to respond instead of being dragged along by your impulses. A simple but powerful way to practice pausing is through deep breathing. The moment you feel triggered, take 3 slow deep breaths. This small act signals to your body that you are safe, allowing your mind to settle. Those 3 breaths may only take 15 seconds, but in those 15 seconds, you shift from reactivity to intentionality. That pause is where you regain your power. Another way to practice the pause is to train yourself to count. For example, when anger rises, silently count to 5 before speaking. This creates just enough delay for your brain to cool down. During that brief count, you can ask yourself, is what I'm about to say helpful? Will it make the situation better or worse? How will I feel about this choice tomorrow? These simple questions anchor you in wisdom instead of reaction. The beauty of the pause is that it doesn't just protect you, it protects your relationships. So many conflicts escalate because people react without thinking. Words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. But if you pause before responding, you may choose a calmer, kinder, or more constructive response. Over time, this habit builds trust, respect, and harmony in your interactions with others. The pause also trains your brain to tolerate discomfort. Reactivity often comes from the inability to sit with uncomfortable emotions like anger, fear, or embarrassment. But when you pause, you teach yourself that you can feel those emotions without needing to act on them immediately. You become stronger, more resilient, and more emotionally intelligent. Remember, the pause is not weakness, it is wisdom in action. Anyone can react, it takes strength to stop, breathe, and choose. The pause is your power because it puts you back in control of your life instead of letting external circumstances control you. So, the next time you feel triggered, don't rush to respond. Take a breath, count to 5, sit in the discomfort, then choose your response with intention. Over time, this simple practice will transform not only your reactions, but also your entire way of living. The pause is where your freedom lies. Our thoughts shape our emotions, and our emotions shape our reactions. If you want to train your brain to stop reacting, you must learn how to reprogram your thought patterns. Much of the reactivity we experience in life does not come from the situation itself, but from the meaning we attach to it. 2 people can face the same criticism, yet one reacts defensively while the other calmly accepts it. The difference is not in the words spoken, but in the beliefs and thoughts they carry within themselves. The human brain is like a computer. Over the years, it gets programmed by experiences, upbringing, culture, and past pain. If you grew up believing that criticism equals rejection, then every piece of feedback will feel like a personal attack. If you've been conditioned to believe that being wrong makes you weak, you will react with defensiveness whenever someone challenges your ideas. These beliefs operate in the background like old software, influencing your reactions without you even realizing it. The good news is just as old software can be updated, so can your thoughts. Reprogramming your thoughts begins with awareness of your inner dialogue. Start paying attention to the things you say to yourself when you feel triggered. Do you think they're disrespecting me? Do you think I'm not good enough? Do you think this always happens to me? These automatic thoughts are the sparks that ignite emotional fires. By noticing them, you begin to see the connection between your thoughts and your reactions. Once you've identified these patterns, the next step is to challenge them. Ask yourself, is this thought true? Is it always true? Is there another way to look at this? For example, instead of thinking, they're criticizing me because I'm not capable. You might reframe it as, they're offering feedback because they believe I can improve. This shift in perspective completely changes the emotional response. Instead of reacting defensively, you may respond with curiosity and openness. Affirmations are another powerful tool for reprogramming your thoughts. These are positive statements that replace negative beliefs with empowering ones. For instance, if your old thought pattern says, "I always mess things up," your new affirmation could be, "I am capable, I learn, and I grow from every experience." By repeating affirmations consistently, you train your brain to accept new beliefs that support calmness and resilience rather than reactivity. Visualization can also play a role. When you imagine yourself handling situations with calmness and confidence, your brain begins to build new neural pathways. Athletes use visualization to prepare for competitions. In the same way, you can use it to prepare for emotional triggers. Visualize yourself pausing, breathing, and responding with wisdom the next time you face a challenge. Over time, your brain begins to default to this new pattern. Journaling is yet another tool that helps reprogram thought patterns. By writing down your triggers, your automatic thoughts, and your chosen reframes, you create a record of growth. You can look back and see how your perspective has shifted over time. This not only builds confidence, but also reinforces new, healthier ways of thinking. Reprogramming your thoughts doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It means choosing interpretations that empower you instead of weaken you. It means shifting from victim thinking to victor thinking, from "why does this always happen to me?" to "what is this teaching me and how can I grow from it?" The process takes patience and practice, but the results are life-changing. Over time, you'll notice that the same situations that once triggered strong reactions barely affect you anymore. You'll no longer be a puppet pulled by the strings of old beliefs. Instead, you'll be the author of your inner script, writing new thoughts that lead to peace, clarity, and strength. Reprogramming your thoughts is the heart of emotional mastery. When your mind is filled with empowering beliefs, your emotions follow, and your reactions naturally shift. You no longer fight every battle because your thoughts remind you that not every battle is worth fighting. You no longer take everything personally because your thoughts remind you that people's actions often reflect them, not you. With every new thought, you free yourself a little more from the chains of reactivity, and that freedom is priceless. When it comes to stopping reactivity, many people focus only on their thoughts and emotions, but they forget a critical truth. The body and the mind are deeply connected. If your body is tense, restless, or flooded with stress hormones, your mind will find it almost impossible to stay calm. That's why one of the most effective ways to train your brain to stop reacting is to learn how to calm your body first. When the body relaxes, the mind follows, and reactivity loses its grip. Think about the last time you were angry or anxious. What happened in your body? Maybe your chest tightened, your stomach knotted, your breathing quickened, or your hands started shaking. These are physical responses triggered by your nervous system. The brain perceives a threat, even if it's just someone's words, and instantly signals the body to go into fight or flight mode. This is a survival mechanism that kept our ancestors alive, but in modern life, it often works against us. Most situations we face today are not life or death, they are emotional or psychological triggers. Yet the body reacts as if we are under attack. That's why calming the body is the fastest way to deactivate reactivity. One of the most powerful techniques is deep breathing. Shallow, rapid breaths signal danger to the brain, keeping you in a reactive state. Slow, deep breaths, on the other hand, signal safety. They activate the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, which helps your body relax. The next time you feel triggered, place one hand on your chest, take a deep breath in through your nose for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, and exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. Repeat this cycle a few times. You'll notice your heart rate slowing, your muscles loosening, and your mind clearing. Another way to calm the body is through mindfulness and meditation. Sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, or doing a body scan where you notice tension in different parts of your body can release pent-up stress. These practices train your nervous system to remain calm, even in challenging moments. Over time, you'll find that situations that once caused intense physical reactions barely move you anymore. Physical exercise also plays a major role When your body stores stress and adrenaline without release, it creates a constant state of tension, making reactivity more likely. But exercise, whether it's walking, running, yoga, or strength training, burns off that excess stress and regulates your hormones. A calm, well-exercised body is far less likely to explode in reactivity. Don't overlook the importance of rest. Sleep deprivation makes the brain more emotionally reactive and less capable of regulating responses. When you are exhausted, even small triggers can feel overwhelming. Prioritizing good sleep, hydration, and nutrition keeps your body balanced, which directly influences your ability to stay calm in difficult situations. Another technique for calming the body is progressive muscle relaxation. This involves tensing and then relaxing each muscle group in the body, from your toes to your head. By doing this, you become more aware of where you hold tension and learn how to release it. As your muscles relax, your nervous system sends signals of calm to your brain, reducing emotional reactivity. Calming the body also involves awareness of your daily habits. Too much caffeine, overstimulation from constant phone use, or skipping meals can all heighten your body's stress response. When your body is overstimulated, it becomes like a volcano ready to erupt at the smallest trigger. But when you nurture your body with balance, rest, and care, you create an internal environment where peace becomes your default state. The truth is, your body is always communicating with your mind. If your body is screaming danger, your mind will react. If your body whispers safety, your mind can stay calm and make wise choices. So if you want to train your brain to stop reacting, start by calming the body, breathe deeply, move often, rest well, and treat your body with care. One of the most powerful ways to stop yourself from reacting impulsively is to practice empathy and perspective. When you shift your focus from your own emotional storm to understanding what the other person might be experiencing, you create a gap between reaction and response. That gap is where wisdom lies. Empathy doesn't just transform how you see others, it transforms how you see yourself. It teaches you that not every word or action directed at you is truly about you, and that realization alone can free you from unnecessary reactivity. Most of the time, when people say or do things that trigger us, it is not because they want to hurt us personally, but because they are acting out of their own pain, stress, or limitations. A harsh comment from a colleague might reflect their own insecurity. A rude driver on the road may be under immense pressure you know nothing about. A loved one's sharp tone could be the result of exhaustion rather than rejection. Without empathy, it is easy to take everything personally and react defensively. With empathy, however, you recognize that their behavior often has more to do with them than with you. Empathy begins with curiosity. Instead of instantly judging or reacting, pause and ask yourself, why might this person be acting this way? What might they be going through? By stepping into their perspective, even for a moment, you give yourself the chance to respond with patience instead of anger. This does not mean excusing bad behavior. It means choosing not to let someone else's emotional state control yours. Perspective also plays a huge role. When we are caught in the heat of the moment, our view narrows. We see only the immediate trigger, and it feels larger than life. But when you step back and look at the bigger picture, you realize that most conflicts are not as important as they seem in the moment. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week? Will it matter in a year? Often the answer is no. By shifting perspective, you take away the urgency that fuels reactivity. Practicing empathy and perspective also strengthens relationships. Imagine a heated argument where both people are reacting to defend themselves. The conflict escalates and hurtful words are exchanged. But if even one person practices empathy, pausing to listen, trying to understand, and responding with calmness, the entire energy of the conversation changes. What could have turned into a battle becomes an opportunity for connection and resolution. Empathy disarms defensiveness and opens the door to communication. One practical exercise is to put yourself in the other person's shoes. Literally imagine their life, their struggles, and their stress. When you humanize others, you soften the sharp edges of judgment. Another practice is active listening. Instead of formulating your defense while the other person speaks, listen with the intention to truly understand. This not only calms your own reactivity, but also helps the other person feel heard, which often de-escalates tension. It is also important to practice empathy toward yourself. Many people react strongly because they are overly harsh on themselves. When they make a mistake or face criticism, they spiral into self-judgment, which fuels defensive reactions. But when you treat yourself with compassion, reminding yourself that mistakes are part of growth, you no longer feel the need to protect your ego at all costs. Self-empathy brings inner peace, and that peace radiates outward. Over time, empathy and perspective become second nature. Instead of being controlled by every word or action around you, you gain the ability to see beyond the surface. You realize that people are not enemies to fight, but human beings with their own struggles. You recognize that not every battle is worth fighting, and that peace is more valuable than proving a point. So, when you feel the urge to react, practice empathy. Step into their shoes. Look at the bigger picture. Remind yourself that you don't need to carry the weight of someone else's emotions. With empathy and perspective, you rise above reactivity and respond with wisdom, patience, and strength. When it comes to training your brain to stop reacting, one truth stands above all. Consistency builds mastery. Change doesn't happen overnight. You can't expect to stay calm and composed after a single attempt at awareness, pausing, or reframing your thoughts. Just like building muscle requires repeated exercise, emotional mastery requires consistent practice. Every moment you choose awareness over autopilot, every time you pause instead of reacting, and every instance where you reframe a thought instead of spiraling into negativity, you strengthen new pathways in your brain. Over time, those small choices add up to powerful transformation. Think of consistency as training your inner world, the same way an athlete trains their body. A runner doesn't run a marathon by training once. They train daily, gradually building endurance and resilience. In the same way, emotional control grows through daily practice. Each small success, no matter how tiny, is a step toward mastery. Even if you pause for just a few seconds before reacting once a day, you are rewiring your brain to choose calmness over chaos. The brain is remarkably adaptable. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to form new connections and habits through repetition. When you consistently practice self-awareness, deep breathing, empathy, or thought reframing, you are literally reshaping your brain's wiring. What once felt unnatural, pausing instead of reacting, becomes automatic. At first, it feels like climbing a steep hill, but with consistency, that hill becomes a smooth path. Consistency also requires patience. Many people give up too soon because they expect instant results. They try mindfulness once, or pause during one heated conversation, and when they still feel triggered, they assume it doesn't work. But emotional mastery is not about never feeling triggered. It's about reducing the intensity and duration of your reactions over time. Progress is often subtle. Maybe you used to stay angry for hours, but now you calm down in minutes. Maybe you still get defensive, but you catch yourself sooner. These are victories, and with consistency, they compound. Another aspect of consistency is practicing even when life is calm. It's easy to forget about self-mastery when everything is going well, but true strength is built during practice, not in the heat of the moment. Just like athletes train before the competition, you must train your mind daily through habits like meditation, journaling, deep breathing, or gratitude practices. These small, steady habits prepare you for the moments when you're truly tested. When challenges arise, your brain will draw on the patterns you've built through consistent practice. It's also important to be compassionate with yourself during the process. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. There will be days when you slip, when you react impulsively, or when your old habits return. That's part of growth. What matters is not that you fall, but that you keep getting back up. Each time you recommit to the practice, you reinforce your determination and resilience. Over time, these small acts of persistence lead to mastery. Consistency is not just about changing your reactions, it's about creating a new identity. When you practice consistently, you stop seeing yourself as someone who is always reactive and start seeing yourself as someone who is calm, grounded, and intentional. This shift in identity fuels further consistency because you begin to act in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. In the end, mastery is simply the accumulation of small, consistent steps taken every day. Training your brain to stop reacting is not a one-time decision, it is a lifestyle. The more consistent you are, the stronger your self-control becomes. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll face a situation that would have once triggered you deeply, and you'll notice you no longer react the same way. That is the power of consistency. So, commit to the journey. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. Stay consistent, and you will discover a strength and peace within you that nothing outside of you can shake. That is the true reward of mastery,